well today. And as I always say, my podcasts always begin with well, because we are going to go deep today. And you know what? I want to welcome you back to my podcast, which is really our podcast when I have guests on, such as I do today. And I know there's been a lot of anticipation and people contacting me with regards to the next. And so this is the next. Today's episode is for the woman standing at the edge of change, feeling something is shifting inside her body, her energy, her soul, and wondering, what does this all mean? Well, we're going to go deep into the sacred terrain of menopause today, and not as a problem to fix, but as a rite of passage, a spiritual awakening, and a powerful return to self. I'm honored to be joined once again by the beautiful goddess, Professor Irmgard Rosa Maria Rauscher, a very wise woman whose lived experience and body of work bridge ancient knowing and modern insight. Together, we're going to explore the layers, many conversations about menopause that normally are left out. So these different categories are the archetypical shift from caregiver to truth teller, the systemic inheritance we unknowingly carry from our mothers and grandmothers, the unspoken rage and grief that, right, well, it rises sometimes not to destroy us, but to liberate us, and the changing face of sexuality, intimacy, and desire, and how menopause can be a homecoming, not into invisibility, but into presence, power, and clarity. This is not just a biological chapter. This is a soul initiation. So pour some tea, light a candle if you need to, and let yourself land in this beautiful conversation. Welcome, Irmgard. Welcome.
Thank you, Colli. It's wonderful to be back here with
Oh,
you
yes.
and talk about the menopause and all these very important times we have as women. And so let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes, absolutely. Well, the first thing I was going to, get into was the energetic and the archetypical shift. And menopause is often described as a rite of passage into wise womanhood. Well, from your perspective, Irmgard, what shifts energetically or archetypically during this time, and how can a woman consciously step into that new identity?
Mm. Typically, the menopause can be defined as a great awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Menopause is a call to become the person we truly are and to take responsibility for our lives.
Mm.
We have been given a very specific mission in life, and it is so important to explore and to find it. We are called to take inventory of our life so far. And our life story returns and demands that we dedicate ourselves to it and heal it. We women, we women need the connection to our inner sacred source, to the yoni, in order to enter into this new identity.
Wow. That is amazingly different than a lot of women are taught about this, right? It's so, and I guess that would come from the systemic inheritance, So what systemic ancestral patterns do you see showing up in the menopausal journey?
Yes, we daughters have all been shaped by our mothers, aunts, grandmothers, and great grandmothers of our clan.
Hmm.
Women were seen, respected, honored, or rejected, oppressed, or abused is very different. We carry all humiliations, all abuse, all degradation of our female ancestors in our energy field,
Mm-hmm.
passed on via an epigenetic level, whether we know it or not. In general, we can say that women are not equal in patriarchy, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Still not. And that thousands of years of disrespect for the feminine and feminine values is our collective trauma. If you think it was just 243 years ago in Europe, in Switzerland, that the last woman was blamed and executed as a so-called witch.
Oh, my word. That was only 200 years ago.
Yes, and
Oh,
this is not long.
no, no.
And this collective trauma is active in all women. Yeah.
So with that, there's so much, right? So how might a woman unknowingly be carrying that her mother or grandmother's silence and shame, especially shame, or burn out through this transition?
Yes, this is because of these trauma. They are active in us all, and this is not just a personal trauma or a transgenerational trauma. This is a much deeper trauma, and this is it's our ground trauma.
So when you spoke last time on episode 2, I still, remember you mentioning about the nerves carrying and then reliving in menopause, that of which we went through in puberty, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so at the point of puberty, we are definitely carrying. I mean, we're carrying that as soon as we're born. So if we're carrying collective as well as like my
Person.
mom and my grandmother, and that's coming somewhat alive during puberty, but then it really really comes alive during menopause.
Yes. Also,
Wow.
because this is a time we never experienced before, and the hormones are helping us to to take a deeper look,
Mm.
and and this time is really challenging for us, and we come in contact with all these deeper layers of trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I un-
And yeah.
yeah, I understand from myself as well as as well as other women, right? And so with that comes, I know for a fact, grief, emotional clearing, and sometimes rage. So, and many women report that there's an increase at the time of this in the rage and grief or emotionally, being extremely sensitive during perimenopause and menopause. And so, what is the deeper wisdom in these emotions, and how can we honor them rather than suppress them? Because I know a lot of women try to suppress them,
Mm, yes. But all these feelings point to unresolved injuries or trauma. If we know that, yeah,
right?
that they hint at unlived desires and dreams, they show us forced behaviors, identities, and structures that we all have acquired in the patriarchal society, and also everything that is going wrong in life. So these feelings are the language of the soul, and it makes absolutely no sense to suppress them because they have precious messages for us about what still needs to be seen, honored, healed, and transformed. So, as I said before, let's take a deeper look in ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and try to be patient and friendly and loving and tolerant towards ourselves.
Right. Which a lot of women, they start punishing themselves at this point, right? And so, I'm thinking in terms of the, there's the false promises of fixing menopause.
Mhm.
That word in itself, the fix, really, I just go, really fix. So there's a lot of language around managing or fixing menopause symptoms. So what do you think we're actually losing by trying to override or bypass a very natural process.
Mhm. So I can say I wouldn't want to miss my menopause because I learned a lot about myself. I came in touch with my shadow sides,
Mm,
with needs, with my wounds. I found my purpose. I experienced healing and transformation. I found essential treasures such as self love and
mm,
compassion. And these are such important and fundamental topics that represent depth and the essence of life. For me,
right.
for
And
me,
for you,
menopause,
yeah.
the menopause was the start of a golden age
Mm,
because never before in my life I have felt so liberated, so self confident, so deeply grounded in myself, so relaxed, and so connected to my inner core. The risk is when menopause is avoided, for example, by artificial hormones, that life becomes flat, that dissatisfaction and bitterness emerge later on,
oh.
becoming a grumpy old woman or losing ourselves by getting Alzheimer's disease or getting breast cancer and so on.
Right. It's exactly that, right? It's trying to escape.
Yes.
And then not you, but I'm just saying then women who do that attempt to do the fixing fall into a whole another need to go through other things, like you say, with regards to Alzheimer's or breast cancer or whatever, which makes the whole thing not make it's just so, non-liberating, right? Because then you're back into a different kind of prison.
Yes, of course. And or maybe also a deadly prison.
Exactly, right? It's to me, it's almost it almost goes back to that, not being able to it's impossible to compete with your younger self. So you can't, I'm turning 70. I can't be 20. And, I'm not going to play this game of attempting to be 20 at 70. It's just not happening. I wouldn't want to. I would lose everything, as I mentioned before, that I've gained through going through all I've gone through and still continuing to go through. So, yeah, I guess it's that time when the voice returns, but it's listening to the voice, right? So you often speak of women reclaiming their voice, their deep intuitive truth, and during this phase. So, what does that look like, and what keeps women from trusting that voice when it begins to rise?
Mm. The inner voice, also known as body wisdom or intuition, accompanies us through our entire lives. Even as a child, we instinctively avoid unpleasant people, situations, or circumstances. So there are times when the voice becomes quieter. For example, when we want to achieve a goal at all costs, then we throw all warnings to the wind and act against our better judgment. And sometimes women don't want to listen to their inner voice because it may require uncomfortable, challenging, scary, or drastic steps. And
Mm,
that's not easy to face.
right.
The symptom complex of the menopause is often a great challenge. But if we assume that the body speaks and communicates with us in this way, we learn to understand the deeper truth. And hot flushes, for example, mood swings, or sleep disorders, for example, are improved by making love.
Okay.
because because what happens during sex is that the yoni starts to vibrate and move, and the whole cocktail of hormones is released, the very hormones that reduce during menopause. And I think women are allowed to question this negative image of the menopause,
Hmm.
because where does this come from? Well,
Exactly.
yes, that's right, from patriarchy. The menopause initiates us into the great awakening. How beautiful is this? The heroine walk on the path to the goddess to listen to her and gain wisdom. So, and all these negative images about getting older, to see all that what no longer can happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the wrong way. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it really interesting what you just mentioned, especially because I'm wondering who titled it Menopause. And I hear so much about, oh, well, it's a time to, you know, to not be with men, right? It's pause from men. That's what I hear a lot. I'm going, and then, what you're mentioning with regards to having, making love. it- it- so I'm wondering if there's a distortion for a lot of women in their minds when they do hear, these things about, well, it's a time to pause from men, when in fact it's really not. I'm like, this is a time to have a great lover or husband who is a great lover, or you teach him how to be a great whatever. But, and I know there are all kinds of, different kinds of relationships out there, but I'm talking specifically right now about the woman and the man, because it's the men, pause from men, oh pause. I just, often wonder, where did that title come from? You know,
Yes. Mhm.
where did that who labeled it that?
Male medical doctors, huh?
Exactly, right? And was this their time to think in terms of, okay, well, you know, she's at this age, and it's push her away. She doesn't need sex anymore. I don't know. My imagination's running wild with this right now, but yeah, no, of course that would be a time when intimacy would even be more important, right?
Yes. To
Absolutely.
keep ourselves juicy.
Mhm. Absolutely. And alive, like, because that
Right.
juiciness gives us alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there's
And
oh goodness.
the
Mhm.
eyes do radiance, the skin is radiating, and this is this a hormone cocktail we we need, yeah? We
Mhm.
need
Absolutely.
extremely in this time.
It's just, yeah, it's amazing to be able to have you with us, because I know it's such a different shift compared to the whatever else is out there about all this, right? So it's actually a very sacred time. I mean, it's also sacred sexuality in menopause, right? So how does a woman's relationship to her sexuality evolve during this phase, during menopause? You know,
Yeah.
how?
Yes, absorbed by demands of parenting, for instance, everyday life, work, and above all, watching television in the evenings, the couple's relationship has often faded into the background even before the menopause, and
Mm.
sex has somehow disappeared. So,
Oh, okay.
during menopause, when we are struggling with ourselves, with symptoms, with fear of losing our attraction, with the return of old injuries and traumas, we no longer think too much about sex. But this is wrong,
Mhm, mhm.
as we just heard, because we need these wonderful drugs of our hormones. Yeah.
Right, and that's the natural drug.
And yeah, and there are many women who have not yet discovered their own sexuality,
Mm,
which is very sad, or have already forgotten the fulfilling times at the beginning of their relationships. Women often do it for the sake of their partner, because they love them and want to keep them,
Mm-hmm.
but not because they have a need for sex. But if they go deeper and listen to their bodies and listen to their yoni, so they will find out that there is a kind of sexuality they really enjoy. Yeah?
Okay.
It is maybe different from then what the partner's sexuality is, but it is never too late to discover.
Mm, very interesting because it's like an invitation, right, to reclaim the intimacy and pleasure from this new place in your life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that reclaiming and like you say, for some women, they've never really come to know their body and they've never really perhaps been at a place of deep intimacy. So, in some ways, this could actually give them all of that.
Mhm. Ah, and it is really important to be honest with yourself,
Mm,
and also have a honest conversation with your partner and tell him what you really want. And this requires lots of experimentation and, above all, a sense of humor.
yeah, exactly. Keeping things as light as possible, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
And if in your bedroom happens what you want and need, then you will discover the spiritual, sacred, and poetic dimension of sexuality.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. I know from, doing workshops with you and studying with you, it's such a beautiful place that you gift to us with regards to how to just rediscover the yoni, and also too when you talk about how to actually set up the the whole experience in the bedroom. How it can be,
Yeah.
from time to time different, right? Different moods, different pleasure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's wonderful, wonderful. and
Every
and
part of it, huh?
absolutely. And I was thinking about, the so many women feel invisible or irrelevant as they age, and especially in cultures that worship, as I was saying before, youth and productivity. And so, Irmgard, what would you say to the woman who is mourning that loss?
My answer to this is that true beauty does not fade, even when it gets older. Beauty is not what fashion magazines and social media think it is. Beauty lies in the sparkle of the eyes, in the generosity of the heart, and the inner being shining through charisma, and so on. It has nothing to do with size, body shape, or weight. What? So boring topics. True beauty comes from within and radiates through us, and this beauty increases with age because as the skin becomes thinner and thinner, inner being is revealed more and more.
Mm, lovely. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. It's
And because of this, Colli, I'm sweet 60, 70, and you soon, I guess, are sweet 70, huh?
yes, yes, at the end of this month.
Well, we go for it.
Yeah,
Yes, we
absolutely.
go.
Yeah, I can sense this whole feeling of becoming, I'm borrowing your words, the sweet 70. And it I don't know, it's just there's a kind of an excitement, there's no feeling of loss of years, or like I said before, it's just not, but there's some excitement. I It's almost like, okay, on the borderline of that. And so what's next, right? And yeah, it just, but like you say, social media and magazines and worshiping all this, youth and productivity. There again, it's unfortunate because it's a distraction for what women could be experiencing. And that's just why I'm doing what I'm doing with regards to having you on a series, because women need to know this and they want to know this. And, it's just really challenging because there's so much conflict out there about this. And so, how can menopause, be a return to presence rather than performance? And I'm very curious.
Yeah, you have you, as a woman, you have your whole life to return to the great mother, the goddess herself, because then God is female, and then we have the ideal, what makes us really happy, what makes us relaxed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so this is very important as a woman to question all the time. Yeah. All the time, question all these around us, all these male values around us. So don't believe it anymore. Look deeper. Stay in contact with your yoni. Your yoni will tell. Your yoni tells you that you are beautiful regardless of your age. This
Mm-hmm.
is age is nothing. Yeah. And other cultures, like in Africa, or also the Native Americans, they did not even know what time is.
Mm.
And and age was a goal, a goal to getting older, to be an elder, to be a grandmother, to be a grandfather,
Wow.
to to be a mentor for the younger ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
We live in a crazy world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Constantly, like I say, with social media and the clock is ticking, right? And it's to me, it would be exhausting to try to keep up with trying to reverse myself. It would be like, oh my goodness, that you would never have a moment of rest
No.
because constantly chasing the tail of, that wags you, which is, pursuing youth and pursuing longevity and pursuing, you know, the sexuality and the glamour and the glitz. It's like,
And by the
uh,
by the way, you lose yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Becoming a former shell of yourself, right? Empty.
This is the deep reason of that all. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all. As women.
Absolutely. So that someone else controls you. And it's interesting, with all of these practices that, women do to compete with their former self, most of them have been created by men.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You
And
know.
they earn a lot of money with that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know, for example, personally, I know from when I lived in Vancouver, I know the male doctor who invented Botox. I know him personally and his wife, and yeah. So I mean, I know the majority of and a lot of other men in the fashion industry. I know too, and they're men as well. And some of them have not been very, what I would say, integral or scrupulous. They don't have scruples. So this is not I'm not dissing men. I'm just saying that it has been for the sake of to make money off of, right? It's about that, right?
This is
So,
really big business.
oh, it is huge. It's a huge business. It really is huge. Yeah, for sure. So I'm wondering, in your personal practice, what are some of Well, for example, what are some of your personal rituals and practices or forms of nourishment that supported you through your menopausal journey? Because I know your listeners here today want to know.
uh, I I I enjoy life. So this is number one.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for me, it's important my morning meditation.
Okay.
My morning meditation, I start in my day. So this is important for me. And also play my goddess cards and and also spend a lot of time around women,
Right.
girlfriends.
Hmm.
Also laugh a lot. I like to dance, and this is a wonderful experience of because a woman do not want to every day to take any sports. Yeah,
Hmm.
so exercise. This is sometimes a little boring, but dance is wonderful. Yeah.
Mm.
So with your favorite songs on the playlist,
Right. Exactly.
you
Yeah.
go dancing. Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing it. That's what I'm doing now is I'm dancing. Not this moment, but I'm doing it thanks to you. It-
That's really great. And I take breaks. This
mhm.
is also important. I enjoy nature and load up my batteries in nature.
Mm.
And I eat and drink everything I like. And if I cannot longer tolerate something such as red wine, for example, or seafood or Sunday roasts,
Mhm.
I don't do it.
Mhm.
So that's my, yeah, that's my way. Nothing special. I keep it simple.
Well, simply beautiful because it's simply in tune with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps you, moving through life in a very graceful way.
Mm.
And that you do. I mean, you personify elegance and grace and beauty. And I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah, well, you do. You really are. You are a true goddess. And so, for our listeners, that's so refreshing to hear because your routine and your rituals and practices, like you say, they're nothing complicated, but the big thing is that they are being true to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what you truly, truly like and what you feel like you say, if wine or, whatever doesn't sit right with you, then you just don't do it or for how long you don't. You know what I mean? But the thing is that's just it. It's getting to that place where you can be really honest with yourself.
Yes.
And because I
Honor
often sorry.
honor and honest and relaxed.
Mhm. Mhm. Not so intense.
A diet here, a diet there. I mean, an internet on Facebook. Try this, try that. Yeah, this is all uh crazy stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's part of what's driving, a lot of women, not I don't want to say insane, but it comes back to keeping up with because they're not exactly what you're saying. It's not listening to your inner voice. Because
Right.
if you didn't have internet and you didn't have the scrolling mechanism on your fingers and kept, all these things keep flashing at you, what would you be doing?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be going running to a store, looking for, hundreds of different people's influence of different kind of diets. It wouldn't be happening
Mm.
because it would take time and energy. But the thing is, it's like I had a conversation with a lady the other day and I just said, she said, "Oh, if I wasn't so busy doing, raising my kids and da 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 and all this, I could have built a dynasty by an empire." And I'm going, "But how much time have you spent?" And I was very honest with her. "How much time have you spent scrolling? for
Yeah.
for answers how to look better, younger, sexier, and the diets and exercises you should be doing. How much time have you done and given that much time to these people that are perhaps going to even make money off of you because you've now bought all these different, you know, skin things and food
Right.
things and all this, right? You could have put that time towards building that empire, but you're placing the blame on your raising a family. It
Mhm.
to me, it was a kind of I gave her a kind of a love slap because, well, because it's true, right? It's not,
And it's so important. Yeah.
yeah, and what is actually going to pay forward more so the time you've been scrolling through and flipping through and buying through and all this, or the time you've been raising your children. So when they do leave, you know that you don't have to worry about them because you either pay now or you pay later,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so true, so true. So, I'm thinking, Irmgard, with regards to a message, to women in transition, if you could whisper just one truth to a woman who is just entering perimenopause and feeling confused and raw and unsure, what would it be?
I would say cheer up. Maybe you will have to tolerate discomfort for a while.
Hmm.
Your deeper, sacred self knows. It knows what is happening and what is necessary now, and that everything is in order. Your yoni has an exhaustible creative wealth.
Hmm.
And if you surrender to it, it will guide you, and you will be gifted with purpose, with wisdom, with leadership, and with empowerment.
Hmm.
That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I know you're going to be very busy in the next while, so I'm wanting to let our listeners know that you will be coming back again. But in between now and then, the time you do come back, you will be very busy traveling and workshops and visiting friends and all that wonderful stuff, and you will have a lot to bring to us upon your return. And so I'm really so grateful to you again for being here with our audience today, Irmgard. I just really want to thank you for walking us through the depths with such tenderness and wisdom and fierce grace. And to every woman listening, if you are in this transition, approaching it, or still making sense of what it all meant, know this: you're not broken, you're not disappearing. You are shedding in a way what no longer fits. And, you're really unraveling what kind of sometimes was never yours anyway. And so you are becoming the woman who no longer whispers when she's meant to roar. you know, and menopause is, I can speak to this from my own perspective, is it's not the end of our radiance. I mean, look at our beautiful guest. She's a goddess. She's absolutely gorgeously beautiful, brilliant, and just shines. And it's the moment where your true brilliance begins. So if, I don't know, if your rage is rising and your body is changing, your voice feels unfamiliar, you're not alone. You're in the initiation and you are deeply, deeply wise. So if something in this episode stirred something in you, please share it with another woman who needs it, because there are women out there who do, and help her with regards to what she's going through and let her know that it's sacred and not shameful. So until next time, honor your body, trust your voice, and remember your energy is sacred, and it's a sacred resource, not something to hustle through. So thank you, Irmgard. Thank you from the bottom and top of my heart. I love you dearly, and I wish you a wonderful next 6 weeks.
Thank you, Colli. It was wonderful sitting with you and talk about our deeper truths. And
Absolutely.
what I want to say, leave all these magazines who makes you unhappy.
Mm.
throw it on the garbage.
Mhm.
Because it has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, until next time,
Yes.
have a wonderful, wonderful 6 weeks. So grateful to you. Thank you so much. And my love to your wonderful husband.
Thank you, Colli, and a wonderful time for you too.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy summer in Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
Be safe, yeah.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
and yes, and celebrate your birthday.
I'm going to. Party on. It's all good. It's all good. All right, my darling. Thank you so much. Lots of love, Irmgard. Blessings.